17th, St. Patrick's Day, 1996, and we're going to sit here and do a little talk with Darl Grable, get some background on him. I'd like to start by asking for you to start with where you were born and your parents and your school.
Were you talking to this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I was born in Conneaut, Ohio on January 27th, 1926. I lived there all my life practically until about 30 years ago when we moved to Eastlake. I went to Lakeview School Elementary School to the 6th grade. I went to junior high school in Conneaut, and I went to the 11th grade, pretty near the 12th, at Conneaut High School, and then I quit school and went to work. I went to work for the Nickel Plate Railroad in a signal department. I worked there for 2 years until being drafted into the U.S. Army in 1942. I served 4 years in the Army, serving 3 years in the South Pacific, being honorably discharged in 1946.
So you came home to your family. Tell me a little bit about your family.
Well, I got 4 brothers and 3 sisters. My 3 sisters are all deceased. My oldest sister died about 4 years ago, and my other 2 sisters died when I was just a little baby. I don't quite remember their names or anything because I never remembered them that much.
What were their names?
Huh?
What are your brother and sister's names?
My oldest sister name was Cleo. And Cleo, well, you want her maiden name?
Well, it's all Grable, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, Cleo Grable. And my other 2 sisters were the other one was Edna, and I can't remember the other one's name because, like I say, I was just a little kid when they passed away. And my oldest sister lived in Conneaut for a while, and then she got married and moved to Geneva with her husband Merle Kelly, and they lived there until they passed away. I have my 4 brothers. I have one brother that lives in Ellington, Florida, and he's been there for probably 15 years. He's retired. He retired from the Cyrus Erie Crane Works in Erie, Pennsylvania. He's 82 years old. And my other brother in Conneaut, Victor D. Grable, he's also retired. He retired from the GE about 5 years ago. He is 70, I think he's 78. And my brother Bud, he died here, about 6 years ago. Well, he was, I think Bud was 76. And I had a brother named Howard, which was 2 years and 1 day older than me. And he was killed on Iwo Jima in December of 1942. Of course, and then it comes down to me, which I'm the baby of the family, which I am now 70 years old. And, okay. My brother Vic, because we both belong to VFW, and when I was living in Conneaut, why, that's where we were most, a little bit of the time. We spent some time at the VFW together. But outside of that, why, I really wasn't close to any of them, real close, but I used to visit them now and then, whenever I could.
All right, tell me a little bit about your parents.
Well, my father, like I say, he worked for the Nickel Plate Railroad for 44 years. He retired in 19. Oh, gee, it was 19. God, I can't remember when he did retire. Well, anyway, he retired for 4 years, and he passed away at the age of 69. My mother is her name was Nettie Mayfield Grable, and she was a housewife. She was 82 when she passed away in 1965. At the age of 82. She was quite a gardener. She had all kinds of flowers around the house. She really enjoyed working outdoors in the summertime. Of course, my father was the same way. He always had a garden in the back, like raised vegetables and stuff like that, you know, for the table. He was the type of guy that had so much energy he didn't know what to do with it. He never sat down. I guess I took after him, because that's the way I am.
You said you were honorably discharged after 4 years from the military. The war was over, and you came home and started working. Talk a little bit about your jobs.
After I was discharged from the service in 1946, I went back to the job that I had before I went in, and I worked there for 5 years, and the work was all done, so I quit there and started sailing on the Great Lakes, which I had 15 years on the Great Lakes sailing with. I started off with Pittsburgh Steamship Company. I worked for them for roughly about 10 years, and then I went from there to the Wilson Transit Marine. I worked there up until they went out of business. So after that, then I went to work for the Erie Dock Company in Cleveland, Ohio. I worked there for 10 years, and due to the lack of the steel, the iron ore pellets being shipped down from Minnesota, the steel mills weren't using that much, and they were going to self-unloaders. So consequently, the company, the Erie Dock Company, closed up. I worked there for a little over 10 years. Then after that, I went to, I don't know where the heck I went to work after the Erie Dock.
Hold pause. We're back to the railroad.
After Erie Dock closed up, then I went to work. The railroad called me, and I worked there for 2 years, and I got furloughed because they closed the place up. And I was off work for about 2.5 years doing odd jobs, painting houses and odds and ends and stuff like that. Then I went to work for the city of Eastlake. I worked for the city of Eastlake for 10 years, starting out in the sewer department. And I wound up, I started in the sewer department, worked 3 years there, and transferred over to the road department for 7 years, and I retired from the road department in the city of Eastlake. And after that, I retired. I was off for about 2 years, and then the railroad called me back again. So I went back to work for the railroad, the New York Central, which is Conrail now. I worked for them for 14 months, and I got furloughed again, so they said, why don't you retire? So I retired at the age of 69 from Conrail Railroad. That's about it.
What job was your favorite, and why?
Huh?
What job did you have that you liked, and was your favorite job out of all the jobs you had, and why?
Oh, I liked the job I had at the railroad. I was a pipe fitter because you were doing different things, all the time. You were doing the same thing all the time, and that's the reason why I enjoyed working for the railroad in the capacity that I worked as a pipe fitter. And like I say, it was a challenging job. You did something new all the time. You weren't stuck with the same job all the time, So it was great.
How did you come to meet Shirley? We're going to talk about family now. How did you meet Shirley? Where and when?
Well, she used to babysit for a friend of ours, and they used to come to dances at the VFW, and that's where I met her. And we started going together. So finally, after 2 years or so, in 1954 we got married. I think it was in the wintertime, yeah, because it was cold. And we were married for about 2.5, 3 years before we started raising a family. So when we started raising a family, we had the first one we had was Kim, which is my daughter, Kim Danette Grable, which she is 37 years old now, and which I love very dearly. And then my second daughter is Kathy, which is she's been married, but she had a little bad luck with her marriage, and she divorced. And she lives in her new home in Menor, and she works at Newpro here in Willoughby and has a very good job. It's a career job, and she has one daughter, which is her name is Lindsay. I don't know what her full name is. Lindsay Nicole Yamanovich. Yeah, and she's in the 7th grade. She's in the 7th grade. She goes to Menor school system, and then I have a son who lives in South Carolina, and he was married to Christine Grable for a short time, and they were divorced, and they have a boy. His name is Robert D. Grable. He is 10? He's 10 years old. They don't live together anymore, but he's in South Carolina, and he gets home whenever he can to see us, but he calls frequently. And well, the wife Shirley and I had been married for 42 years. We've had a fairly good marriage, very good life together, and our marriage has been very good. And outside of that, why, that's about all I can say. Well, I forgot one. I can't forget that ball of energy. My grandson Gregory, which has been living here with us for the last year because his mother is sick. She had quite an operation, and she can't not be by herself. So consequently, she's here with us, which I don't mind it at all because they're a lot of company to us. And Greg had just signed up for to go on the baseball team. He was in T-ball last year. Now this year he's going to advance to, he get out of T-ball and goes into baseball this year, which is another step up. He's 7 years old, and he can really swat that ball out there, I'll tell you. He's going to be a good ball player when he grows up.
When I think of Darl Grable, I think of the softball games in the backyard, pitching tents, cooking out, going fishing, just anything there was to do in the backyard or anything to do. What do you like to do? What is your favorite thing to do?
Now, my favorite thing is I like camping a lot, and we had a camper, which we used to go out every weekend. And of course, I always liked the get-togethers, the picnics we always had in the backyard, and the cookouts, the hamburgers, the hot dogs, the works, whatever, you know. And it just seems so good to have all the family around you, you know. And I really enjoyed that. That was my big thing. I always liked to see people happy, and so consequently, I thought we always had a good relationship with whoever come around, because it seemed like every time we had a picnic, we had a backyard full, and we was either playing softball or playing badminton or horseshoes, you name it. We had it, we did it, and we really enjoyed it, all of us. And I think everybody that was here enjoyed it too, because they must have, because they always come back again. And so it was a fun time for everybody. And I can still remember that stacking all the hamburgers and hot dogs on the grill, getting ready for the picnic, because any time at all they would be here. And so I wanted to make sure that the food was ready when they got here, because I knew they'd be hungry. So we really had a fun time for a good many years, and I'll never forget it. I'll cherish it the rest of my life. And that's about all I can say there.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Great.
Yeah. Today is March 17th, 1996. My name is Shirley Grable, wife of Darl Grable for 42 years, January 27th this year. I was born in Connie, Ohio, September 5th, 1937. My parents are Carl Mickle, deceased in 1961. Trudy Snyder, still living in the Ashtabula nursing home. She's about 95 years old now. When I was 6 years old, our mother left us kids and we didn't see her again for 25 years. So she is like a stranger to us. We lived in a children's home in Ashtabula for 6 years because my dad had to work. Then after 6 years, my dad got a housekeeper and babysitter, and we moved back with him. We went to school in Amboy, west of Conneaut, and then to East Conneaut for high school. I quit school in 12th grade and shortly after got married. I only worked part-time here and there. There were 9 kids in my family, 4 of them deceased now. We have 3 children of our own, Kim Danette Carroll, Kathy Ray Yermanovich, and Robert D. Grable, and 3 grandchildren, Greg Carroll, Lindsay Yermanovich, and Robbie Grable. We have a very loving family and also have some very good friends because of our children.
Dear Ed. Dear Ed Nichols and family. This is Debbie Gilliam and Kim Carroll sending you this letter on the plane of a Continental, how do you like that? On a Continental airplane in Houston, Texas, about to fly to Cleveland. It is March 24th, 1996, and it is 8:15 at night, your time, 7:15 at night, Texas time. We had to stop. Kim had to go to the bathroom. That's all right, I did it too. They're about to serve us sandwiches, so we're going to cut off again. Bye. Well, Ed, the reason we decided to do this tape is because we've been finding the tapes of 1974. Remember when we were down that summer and instead of writing letters to our parents, we sent tapes back and forth? Then once we came home to Ohio, we started sending tapes back to Florida. We came across the tape that you sent, Kim, while you were in college, and you just started Innisbrook. You talked about getting your hair cut and letting your mustache grow, and you talked about your car. I had it written down, but I forget now what kind of car it was, but you were really proud of it. You tried to keep it clean, but you had a lot of fun.
Bel Air.
A Bel Air, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Bel Air. I remember that car, too.
Yeah.
And then you did a thing on your tape that...
Deep, my love.
Yeah.
I love you so.
Where you were playing songs and asking yourself questions and playing clips from songs. It was so cute. I don't know if I got to hear that tape before or not, but I tell you, it was like I heard it for the first time and we were rolling. Oh, Oh yeah, another thing you did is you had your sister come into the room and start acting like she was jealous because you were sending this tape to Kim. And you had Kim going about who it was, and then finally you admitted it was your sister. Anyways, after hearing the tape, and Diane came across the tape that Grandpa made November of '74, and it was so wonderful to hear his voice and Grandma's voice again and reminisce about just things that he did and mannerisms and things he loved to correct us on, and it just was wonderful to have it flash back to us. And he talked about us girls that summer and how they had their hands full and all the motorcycles and the swimming pool and what to do with us and dating. But it's great. It's really funny to listen to the voices and to hear how they were so young. And even yours, Ed, I mean, you were older than we were, because you were in college and we were only 15. But it's still a lot different than when I hear you on the phone now. Kim, I think Ed sent you a letter, didn't he? Like,
no.
Yeah. About a month and a half ago or so? Now you told me before you got it. Alright, when we get to Ohio, we're gonna look for it.
Yes.
We're gonna look for it. I'm sure she got it.
Yeah.
And Ed, the reason I haven't written is because we lost our Rolodex. Is this a lame excuse or what? I can't find anybody's address. So I finally dawned on me to dig through my old letters and get your new address out and get something to you. And I really feel bad because you're so good about keeping in touch. And you are? I'm not. I'm not.
Oh,
I try to do better now, but it's hard when you have kids and work and a family and excuses.
Hey, forget it.
No. We got a long tape here. You can tell us what you want.
I lost my brain fart.
Well, I know you, Kim, and if you could write, you would write, because you were always the better of either one of us that kept in touch. And you were really good about writing. One thing that Grandpa mentioned on the tape was, you know, the fact that you had written him and that he wanted us to write them. And, you know, that's pretty bad when his own grandkids aren't writing and Kim is. Anyways, I wanted to try to record some of your tapes onto this tape so you can hear your voice. Probably at the end of the tape we might be able to do this one if we get time. I only have one more day with Kim, and that's going to be Monday. It's now Sunday. And then I leave back for Virginia on Tuesday. So if we get time tomorrow, we'll try to get a little bit of that tape on here so you can hear yourself and hear us and how we giggled all the time. Can't believe all the turbulence. Trying to watch Kim drink her orange juice is kind of funny. Every time she picks up the glass, we start hitting bumps. As soon as she puts it down, it calms down.
That's why Debbie don't drink her drink.
I know, I figure I'm better off leaving it on the table. It's better there than in my hands. So how's the family? What's Deb doing? I'm sure she's working and loving it. And the kids, little Jessica, she's probably driving. She's almost at the age to get a learner's. I can't believe it. She's the age we were when we met. I think I said that to you on the phone last time, but it just amazes me. I still feel like I'm 16. Sometimes.
Yeah.
When I'm not so tired. So what's little Eddie doing? Is he active in any sports? Kim's son Gregory likes to play baseball, and we'll be starting in a couple weeks. I guess last year, what did he do? What position did he play?
Catcher and hardball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her husband Sam is really good about taking videos, and we were watching him play. They sure are fun. Kids make it worthwhile. Yeah. Although it's been a nice week without him. We kind of left Gregory home with Grandma and left my two boys at home with Dad. And although I've talked to him every day on the phone, and I do miss him, it was nice to get away for a week and be with my buddy and just hang out. We let's see.
I know.
I know she'll think of it, but I keep talking and then she doesn't think of it. I don't give her a chance.
He knows about my condition.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
This think of me as a alcoholic.
I want to know what they put in our orange juice. That's what I want to know. Yeah. She's still crazy as ever. We got to Texas. We flew in on Sunday the 17th. Got there late. The plane was delayed. It was supposed to come in about 10. It didn't get in until 11 or whatever. And we got home and actually Sam met us at the gate with 2 yellow roses of Texas, which is so sweet. And he got us home and put in a videotape. What he did is he took all the pictures, not all, but a lot of pictures of Kim and Sam together, like a slideshow, and set it to a beautiful song, saying how much he loves Kim and misses her and needs her, and he had both of us. I was bawling. I mean, we were both just crying our eyes out. It was so beautiful. Let's see, we probably got up every day about 10 o'clock. Maybe not. I mean, we lounged around and just took it easy. Yeah. Pretty much stayed home on Monday. Tuesday we did something. What did we do on Tuesday? We went to that pottery.
Yes. And
pottery outlet that has so many crafts in it. And
the next day we went to the Galleria.
Yeah, that's a big mall in Houston that has, the big attraction is it has ice skating in the middle of the mall. People go there for ice skating. And besides that, they got all kinds of ritzy shops and boutiques.
Gucci.
Yeah, Gucci stuff. So we pranced around like we knew we were hot stuff. Carried our money like we were rich. Yeah, right. And bought 50-cent postcards. And a slice of pizza. We always reminisce whenever we get together. I mean, it's just so much fun to go back. And Sam,
we didn't reminisce as much as we used to.
but those tapes helped.
Yeah.
When Sam found
Yeah.
those tapes, we kicked him out of the car while we sat in it and just listened to the tapes.
Yeah.
Of course, he was going shopping, so we let him go shopping. We stayed in the car.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah, you're right. We didn't go through as many pictures as we used to. Watched a few good movies. And played on the computer.
Yeah.
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah. She's learned a new thing.
I was beating Kim the first day. The next day I got up and I started playing on the computer. The computer beat me every time except once. And then we got Sam in the boat. Well, it was fun. Boy, my ears keep cracking. That time it hurt. Let's see, Kim asked me if you knew about her condition. I know I talked to you about it on the phone, and that was one of the reasons I know you wanted to write Kim, and just to cheer her up, because you have a way about you for doing that. Anyway, just to refresh your memory, she does have a tumor on the left side of her brain. She found out about it in '91, and during that time they just did a biopsy and found out that she could basically control it with medication and keep from having seizures, which she had slight seizures at that time. So she just took medication. But after a couple years, I don't know how long, she ended up developing cysts around her tumor, which caused some more complications. So they went in and did an operation to remove as much of the cyst that they could see and a little bit of the tumor. And shortly after that, she had radiation treatment, which I think wasn't fun. They actually had to put your head on a table and keep it in place. And how many treatments?
6 weeks.
And it was once a week?
Every day.
Every day for 6
Yes.
weeks? I didn't remember it being that much.
Yeah.
And that helped break down some of the tumor, but they felt that she needed to go into some chemo treatment after that. And that's no fun.
No.
And we're not sure what really has caused it, but her speech is now being affected, and we're not sure if it's where the cyst and the tumor is really pressing against her nerves in her brain. But anyways, there's some nerve damage or being affected, which is causing her to make it difficult for her to think about what she wants to say and to, just have the words flow out. And then also her right arm, which I would say in June started to show signs of just numbness, and it got harder for her to use. And I think it was after a seizure when it really went numb on her and got more and more difficult to use. The same with her right leg. I know it seemed to me back in June or July that she had to go in a wheelchair, but she was able to get herself out and build up some strength and use, and she was going through therapy to keep using her right side. But over the winter, it's kind of gotten harder again for her to use her arm at all, and she is walking, but it's really, she's dragging her right foot rather than picking it up and walking. And when she's real tired, she can't even get her foot in front of her, so we have to keep reminding her to pick up her foot and to walk. But I think with more exercise and more therapy, we're going to get her back into being able to use her right arm and her right leg. And well, since I guess last year, the end of last year, November, December, her last chemo treatment, Kim has decided to stop chemo, because that really deteriorates the organs and affects your immune system, and it's terrible. It makes you
Well,
sick.
folks, thanks for your patience here. I think we're on the other side of the weather now, so we've turned that seatbelt sign off, and you can get up and move about if you need to. Please keep that seatbelt fastened about you while you're in your seat, just in case we get some unexpected bumps here.
How'd you get a kick out of the pilot talking to us? At any rate, you know, we're gonna try to get her back into therapy and exercising again, and try to make her work on using her right side. And oh yeah, we were saying she's going to stop chemo. She has stopped chemo, and start an alternative by using shark cartilage. And in talking to a doctor in New Jersey, there's a lot of hope for that, and we're gonna pursue that. I say we because I know Kim needs everybody's support. It's her decision, but even her doctors, she has a doctor in Ohio, Dr. Flowers, and Dr. Mudd in Texas, who, while we were down there, I got a chance to meet her. She's a rare individual. She knows Kim. If you were just to say Kim, she knows who you're talking about. She considers both Kim and Sam personal friends. As a matter of fact, she came over on Saturday about 4 in the afternoon, spent the afternoon and had dinner with us, and came full of presents and pep and concern. I mean, she truly conveys that, and she's just a real fascinating, down-to-earth person. She definitely, you can feel that she is dedicated to the field and is dedicated to her patients, and I don't know that she can spend as much time or make friends with all her patients, but we certainly feel lucky that she's made Kim and Sam her friends, and she certainly has their interest in mind and everything that happens, and so she's even supported Kim's decision in using the shark cartilage and moving forward in this fashion. Chemo's just deteriorates you and really weakens you, and it's just a terrible experience. I've never been with Kim when she had a chemo treatment, and I'd probably break down if I saw it, but from talking to her mom and hearing Kim, it's not good. But I'm not totally against chemo. I'm not saying it didn't or doesn't do some good, but I really feel that the shark cartilage is nothing but helps, and that's the way to go. Anyway, we're gonna go to something else, unless you want to say something about Dr. Mudd. You're gonna just sit there and eat that apple and let me chatter on like this. Dr. Mudd took off her belt, which she got from one of the ranches down at home, as she says. It has Indian beads on it. It's a real cute white leather belt with the Indian. Took it off her pants and put it on me, and let me keep it. It's like a link to us. I just could not believe it. I was amazed. I've never had anybody take off a piece of clothing and give it to me before. But that's the type of person
And
she is.
it was $150. She didn't pay for it. I didn't.
Yeah, she said it was given to her, but she has access to a lot more of them, and she says she really wanted me to have it, and I feel really special that she did. I do. I mean, it's just.
She liked you.
Well, I talked to her when I was in Virginia, and I knew I would like her even before I met her, but she just kind of put the icing on the cake. She really is a wonderful person. Sam did all the cooking while we were home. We worked him like a dog. No, I think he really enjoyed it. I mean, he's at home in Texas by himself all the time, so I think he really wanted to show off what he could do and to take care of Kim and to show me a good time, and I really appreciate it. We all really got along great, and
Yeah.
you know, it just was a wonderful time. Hunk alert, hunk alert. One just went down the aisle. Ed, I don't think I got a chance to tell you about work. The position I had at Hettinger has been eliminated. So I was able, or given the option to apply for another position, but I declined it. I decided after 20 years it's time to get out of retail, or at least attempt to. So I'm going to go back to school. I got a severance package, which is going to carry me for about 8 months. And I plan to get into some computer courses and the business end of it and try to do something in the computer field. That's where the money should be, and that should enable me to get a Monday through Friday job versus working nights and weekends and holidays and long hours and all that stuff that retail consists of. So I'm going to take a big jump, make a change. And talking to Kim's husband, who works with computers, he really encouraged me to make the change. I feel good about it. I'll keep you posted, though. I guess if worse comes to worse, I can always go back to retail. But I got my resume written, and we'll have to update it after I get to school. My thought is to take some classes and probably work temporary while I'm going to taking classes, and maybe get some jobs that might cross over into the computer field, and maybe land me a job with a company that'll give me some advancement in that area. So we see what happens. So what's happening in sunny North Carolina? Of course, it's not as sunny as Florida. I don't know when we're going to get down there, Ed and Deb. I still can't believe it's been, what, almost 2 years? Or at least a year, I guess. I'm not sure. They're not that far from us, and it's really a shame.
Yeah.
I haven't made it a point to see them, but maybe with this transition we might be able to get a long weekend together and take a drive. I mean, it'll be nice just to get down to visit. Kim and her mom and family are talking about coming to Virginia this summer. Her mom promises it. So, and then her brother is in
South Carolina.
So maybe
Juice Creek.
Where's that?
Juice Creek.
Juice Creek?
Yeah.
Like orange juice? Never heard of it.
No.
Oh.
Juice Creek.
Yep. Well, it's not Juice Creek out. No. I don't know. Maybe a road trip. Hey. Hey. Yeah. Oh, we're gonna stop and put makeup on, so we're gonna stop for a second here. So we are about to land. To the approach. So what do you think, Ed? I did a pretty good job. Kim wanted me to play cards. She wanted me to play this new game and beat the butt off me. So I pulled out the tape recorder and said, what do you think? Pretty cool? Pretty slick?
Yeah.
I don't know what we did to avoid it on the way there. You know I'm a terrible
We
loser.
did have a get a set of cards.
We didn't ask for any either.
Yeah.